Hi everyone, it's Jessica Dybzinski. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I'm excited because it is time for a Makers with Heart video collaboration. I'll tell you a little bit in a second about what our project is going to be this month, but I'm going to be scrapbooking these two 4x6 photos right here of the kids meeting Santa last winter, and I am working out of the Make It From Your Heart Volume 6 pattern book. I love this. It's got single page layouts, double page layouts. There are even card patterns in here. So there is something for everyone. And I find that it just works for all of my different projects. But I'm using pattern number 2 today because it does call for the 2 photos and the orientation that I need. Now, based on the colors in my pictures, I thought that it would be perfect to use the new evergreen paper. I love this here. I'm going to use this one that has the branches and the pine cones on it, and then this darker green pine color that also has just a little subtle pattern on it. And then I thought it would be fun to bring in a paper from the Mix-In pack right now. This is a Desert Rose pattern, and I picked it because of the color of my daughter's jacket. Now, I've got a lot of greens and whites and browns, but you know, there's bright red in Santa and then my daughter's jacket. So I thought that this Desert Rose color here worked nicely with the sage and the pine, just as a way to kind of bring that hue onto my project. So I am going to do a little bit of edge distressing to all of my papers before I begin. I've got this little sanding disc here that just attaches to my foam blending tool. And for these 2 pieces of sage cardstock, I'm going to do a little bit of sanding as opposed to ink distressing. So this is one of my favorite tricks. I love to take it and just rub across the edge of the paper. And when you do that with either like a sanding block or some kind of sanding tool, it takes that color off of the paper and reveals the white core. So I love the look and the distress of that. But for all of my other papers here, I'm going to just use the coordinating ink color and swipe my ink pad directly to the edge of the paper and just finish them off that way. Okay, so now that I have done that, I am going to start putting some things down. Now, I am going a little bit rogue from the pattern book here because I am going to also include some shimmer trim in the pine color. And actually, one of their samples in there of the artwork does show a little strip of glitter paper or shimmer trim, and I thought that it looked nice, so I wanted to add that to my layout as well, even though it's not technically part of the pattern. So I'm just going to put a strip down at the bottom of the page. And then up here at the top, when I want to repeat that, I'm just looking to see where exactly in my stack of papers I want to put the shimmer trim. I decide to put it in the middle of the pine and the Desert Rose pattern piece. And I'm going to give myself a line here to follow so that I can make sure that I get that shimmer trim down straight onto my page. So this month, the Makers with Heart are all going to be creating out of that same pattern book, Make It From Your Heart Volume 6. I'm really excited to see what patterns everybody else chose, you know, if they're doing single page layouts or double page or cards. I am sure we're going to have a variety of all of the different patterns. I'm also excited because Melanie from Mel's Stamping Gallery is going to be joining us this month, and so her video will be tomorrow. I'll put links to everything in the description box down below, so make sure that you come back and see what everybody else made out of this awesome pattern book. Okay, and one of my favorite things about working from a pattern book is that it tells you exactly what to do. I don't have to figure out what size to cut my papers. I don't have to figure out exactly where to go. It'll tell me come over so many inches from the side or from the top and the bottom. And so that makes this part of the process so much faster and easier in my opinion. And honestly, I'm a little lost without those kind of pattern books to use. So I'm just going to go ahead and start gluing all of my different pieces down. And I am really happy with that pop of Desert Rose. As I'm like gluing these down, I'm thinking, okay, I was nervous about that in the beginning. I didn't know if it would match or be weird, but I think that it looks really nice with the colors in the evergreen paper pack. And I was also a little worried because Santa has bright red and my daughter is wearing kind of that peach color, but I think this is a good hue to kind of bring the two of those together and just add a little bit of that red tone to the layout. Okay, about here is where I look at the sample artwork in the book and think, you know what, they have some ink blending in the top corner and the bottom corner. And I really like that, and I think I want to do that too. So luckily I haven't quite glued everything down just yet, just, most of the things. So I'll bring in a little bit of a sticky note here just to kind of mask some of my paper off. And then I'm going to grab that blending brush and some sage ink and just add a little wash of color to the top right and then the bottom left corners, and then use that as like a background to build my embellishment clusters on. So things that it would be smart to think of, before gluing your papers down, but that's okay. The sticky note worked to protect everything. Okay, I did spend a little bit of time doing a bunch of die cutting. So I've got a whole bunch of different things that I'm using here. I've got a retired snowflake thin cut set that I cut out some white glitter paper. I have my title here is Christmas Wishes. This is a new thin cut set. And then I also have some pine cones and greenery from the Evergreen card making workshop stamp set. And I just have to glue a few more of my pine cones together. These are so fun. I don't have anything like this, and I really love the greenery and the pine cones, and I think I'm going to use this quite a bit on my winter and Christmas layouts and cards. So let me get this last pine cone put together. It is a little fiddly to die cut and weed out that top piece, but they're pretty easy to glue together. And then for the title, I thought, that Christmas Wishes is probably meant for cards, but I think it works really well for a visit to Santa because that's what you do when you go see Santa is you tell him what you wish for Christmas. So I'm going to let that be my title on top of this circle. And then I'm just going to start playing around with, where things can go around it. I'm tucking in a couple of the snowflakes and some of the greenery and trying to figure out where I can put the pine cones. I know I want to use them because they're in that pattern paper and I kind of like that pop of dark color there. I do like this bigger snowflake up here in the top corner, but I want to figure out how to get some pine cones up there too. So I'm going to kind of play around with the greenery. Honestly, this part did take me a little bit of fussing. I had to cut a lot of it out. But I did eventually figure out where all of that stuff went, and I glued most of it down flat to the page, but I do have some of the pine cones up on foam tape. And then I do have the 2 points, the top corner and the bottom corner. I knew I needed a third one, so I put those 2 little snowflakes off to the side, and I went ahead and glued everything down. I think that white glitter paper and the snowflakes is so pretty in real life. I wish that you could see it better in the video because it looks so cool. Okay, and then one last little touch. There are 2 tiny little star stamps in that same stamp set. I'm going to use both sizes. There's a slightly bigger one and then a really tiny one. And I'm going to stamp both of those on top of that ink blending that I did in the same color so that it's really subtle, but just kind of adds a little bit of, sparkle and stars. When I was all done, I kind of stared at that white space up in the top there above my photo, but I decided to leave it. I think that it's busy enough. I'll put my journaling down here in the bottom left, and that's it. I'm going to call it done. I really love the way that this page came together, and I think it's that desert rose that kind of did it all. The pine cones, the snowflakes. I don't know. There are so many things that I love about this layout, and I hope that you guys enjoyed watching. Again, I will put links in the description box down below to the other ladies' videos as they are live. And tomorrow will be Mel from Mel's Stamping Gallery. And I'll also put links to any of the products that are available. So thank you so much for being here with me today. I hope you guys have enjoyed watching and that you've been inspired. Happy crafting. See you next time. Bye.